Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you. You're watching another episode of Encounter. Today, in the studios of the NBC, we have a very special guest. We have Yunus Al Gohar, who was born in Pakistan but who lives in the UK. But most importantly, he is a Sufi master. Yunus, very warm welcome to you, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here.
I feel honored, and I would like to thank you for making it possible to have this interview about Sufism.
And I would like to remind our viewers that Sufism is not a religion, it's a way of living. And I'm sure you can confirm that you could be from any religion, but still adopt the Sufism way of living. Is
That's
that a
true.
fact?
That's true. Spirituality, Sufism is not a religion, but there is no religion without it. Every religion is based on spiritual practices. Spirituality is about awakening of the soul, and everybody has a soul. Therefore, nobody can deny its existence.
First things first, I know this is a very hard question. Can you give a brief introduction to what Sufism is?
Sufism is often associated with the religion of Islam. However, Sufism is all spirituality. And spirituality is a doctrine that deals in awakening of the souls and enlightenment of our spiritual senses. So it's for everybody, and basically it deals in connecting people with God, no matter what religion they practice.
I introduced you as a Sufi master. What is the job of a Sufi master then?
Sufi master is like a spiritual doctor. He tells his disciple what must be done in order to connect to God. It's like a teacher that teaches us how to take care of our souls, how to awaken them, and what must we do in order to keep our souls intact with God and humanity at the same time.
From what I understood is that there is an initiation process to begin with. Why is this initiation process so important?
This is because the souls in our body are dormant, and there is a process in which the souls must be awakened. So a spiritual master initiates the disciples into spirituality, and by virtue of this, he transmits energy into the heart of the disciple. And by virtue of that, the souls are awakened.
So exactly how your teacher has initiated you, so you're passing it on to newer, younger generations.
Correct.
A way of saying.
Correct.
When you say passing on of energy, passing on of power, it sounds very eerie, it sounds magic. Can you care to explain a little bit more what it means?
It's very simple these days to understand, because nowadays we have certain mobile phones. They can work like a wireless charger. You just place your phone on them
Okay.
and they get charged.
Yeah.
So they are passing on electricity. It's a piece of metal.
Yeah.
We are human beings. We have more powers in us. We can also do the job. We can also pass on energies. If one has accumulated enormous amount of energy in his heart and the soul, they can obviously pass it on to others so that others can also benefit from it.
And of course, when we speak about Sufism, we have to mention Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi and of course his teacher Shams of Tabriz. Before moving on, I would like to ask you, the initiation, how long does it last?
Initiation is forever.
It's forever. No, but the process of it,
It doesn't take too long.
it doesn't take too long.
Maybe 5 seconds.
But the teaching that starts from there, that goes for
Goes.
lifelong.
Yeah.
What is the first thing that you teach to someone who wants to become a Sufi follower?
The first thing is awakening
Of course, you mentioned that.
of these spiritual senses.
How do you do this?
And this is done by transmitting some divine energy,
Okay.
some positive energy, and that positive energy enters the heart and then awakens the spiritual senses. And once the spiritual senses are awakened, there is a mystical formula, a God's name, that is inserted in the beating system of the heart. And the idea of having God's name inserted in the heart is that by mingling of God's name, divine energy is generated. And that divine energy keeps our souls going.
Oh, that's beautiful, the way you're explaining it. What are the main core values for a Sufi follower?
Well, the main thing is awakening.
Yes.
And then once the souls are awakened and they begin to accumulate divine energy, that divine energy will manifest attributes of God.
When you speak about the soul, does it mean that we are all souls having a human journey? Does it mean that there is reincarnation? Can you care to explain what is your definition of soul and probably the journey that it undergoes?
I understand that we have two groups, different groups of souls. One group of souls is called terrestrial souls. And these souls are responsible for sustaining life in our body.
Okay.
Ruh-e Jamadi, Ruh-e Nabati, and Ruh-e Haywani. There are three souls. Ruh-e Jamadi solidifies atom. It is found in the stones, and we have bones.
Yeah.
And then Ruh-e Nabati is a botanical soul, which is found in plantation, trees.
Yep.
And then Ruh-e Haywani, which makes shapes, and it is found in animals. So these three souls are found in this world, in the stones, in trees, and animals. And all these three souls are also present in our bodies.
Of course.
But being a human being, God has gifted us with another group of souls. And these souls are celestial souls. Those souls are responsible for connecting human beings with God and the spiritual realm. So those souls need to be awakened. And those souls are the divine mirror in which God will reflect all His love, all His attributes. This is why we need to awaken those souls.
Can I ask you what has been your experience since you've been initiated, and did you feel that your soul has been awakened? Can you share this with our viewers? What has been your personal experience?
Yeah, my soul was initiated long time ago. And the first thing that I experienced was a constant voice which was pronouncing God's name inside my heart. I wasn't doing it verbally. I wasn't even making any effort, but I was able to hear the sound was coming out of my heart. And subsequent to this initiation of the heart, I started to feel some extraordinary energy filling up the vacuum in my heart, in my soul. And changes started to take place. I was becoming more kind, and I was getting rid of hatred, and I was getting rid of all the negative traits. And a point came where I started to see human beings as one family, one unit. I was not able to differentiate between a Hindu or a Sikh or a Christian or a Muslim. I would treat them the same because I realized that we are all the same. We were all created by one Creator. And I did not feel indifference towards anybody. I would feel that he, like myself, is a creation of God. Therefore, there was no need to feel worse or better or superior or inferior. And this gap was covered by the fact that I was spiritually initiated and I was accumulating a lot of positive energy in my heart.
Was this change instantaneous, like it happened just like that? Or
No, it took time.
It built over time, exactly?
It took time. There was a length of evolution, and we went through different phases.
So you have to put a lot of practice from your side also, I'm guessing. Yeah?
Yeah, you need to make an effort not to progress in spirituality, but to abstain from certain things that can become a hurdle in spirituality.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful. So um, instead of trying to progress in spirituality, we try to avoid the hurdles in spirituality.
Like
That's
you
another way
kindle,
of,
like you
that's,
kindle a fire,
okay,
right? Like there is a candle, and you put it on, and now it will go on forever.
it will
All you
burn.
need to do is to make sure that no wind can put it off.
Okay, okay, okay.
That is
But,
what I meant by abstaining
but there are
from
two phases.
certain
So
things.
at first you have to light it up first,
Yeah.
and then you remove the obstacles.
So lighting up is initiation.
Oh, fantastic, beautiful. Yunus, I will invite you for a short break right now. We will watch a short video on the various aspects of Sufism, and we'll also ask the viewers to accompany us, and we'll be back very shortly. Sufism, known as Tasawwuf in the Arabic-speaking world, is a form of Islamic mysticism that emphasizes introspection and spiritual closeness with God. While it is something misunderstood as a sect of Islam, it is actually a broader style of worship that transcends sex, directing followers' attention inward. Sufi practice focuses on the renunciation of worldly things, purification of the soul, and the mystical contemplation of God's nature. Followers try to get closer to God by seeking spiritual learning known as tariqah. Sufism has shaped literature and art for centuries and is associated with many of the most resonant pieces of Islam's golden age. The most well-known tariqah in the Western world is the Mevlevi order, founded by the followers of the 13th century Persian poet and mystic Rumi after his death in the Turkish city of Konya. The Mevlevi order performs the Sufi practice of dhikr in a musical ceremony and dance, giving them the whirling dervishes. Dhikr is the central practice in Sufism whereby adherents recite divine verses and intone the name of Allah. It can be performed individually or in a group and can be quiet or out loud. Dhikr practices vary among Sufi orders. In modern times, the predominant view of Sufi is one of love, peace, and tolerance. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You're still watching Encounter. We still have the Sufi master Yunus with us. Earlier, before the break, you were explaining about your experience when you were initiated and the effort you had to put in to start developing certain qualities, if I may call it like that. But I have to ask you, what are the practices that you do, let's say on a daily or regularly, to maintain yourself on the path of Sufism?
Self-actualization is very important. And self-actualization is a process in which you discover yourself,
Okay.
your qualities, your caliber, your abilities, your weaknesses, and your strength.
Do you mean that it helps you discover who you are and what you're meant to do?
Yeah. Because there is a Sufi saying, Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. In order to know God, know yourself.
Okay.
This is the most difficult path. This is the most difficult part in spirituality. To know yourself,
Is to know God.
In order to know God. So this is called self-actualization. So in self-actualization, you discover yourself, you explore your caliber, your strength, and your weaknesses. And it doesn't happen in one episode or two. It's a journey.
It's a process.
It's a process, and you keep going. And every day you discover something new.
Any advice you could share with us that helps you work on your weaknesses and focus on your strengths?
Fear and weaknesses always manifest in anger.
So anger is a sign of weakness?
Anger is a sign of weakness and fear. When we are afraid of something, either we become really timid or we exhibit anger in order to overcome our weakness.
Okay.
It's like a Dutch courage, anger. So when you adopt spirituality and you become united with God and you're working on your weaknesses, you do not find an escape from your weaknesses. You admit that you have these flaws. So when you admit your flaws in you, your conscience is clear and you're not afraid of anybody. Do you understand?
So
So when we hide our weaknesses from others, we're always trying to lie to others in an attempt to hide our weaknesses
Okay.
from them. And this is where we happen to make more and more mistakes. And we're like in a quicksand, we're just going down every minute.
So once you admit what are your weaknesses and you're able to see it face on, it's no more a weakness because
No.
you already accept it as it is.
Yeah.
And you are open that, okay, here's something that I would like to improve. And once you start accepting that you're at that, let's say, lower level, you will naturally start to work on it. Is
True.
that what you're trying to
That's
to
true,
say?
yes.
Oh, wow, fantastic. What about your strengths then?
Your strength, whatever strength you have in you, your master will ask you to use it in a positive way to help yourself and to help others.
What about your practices?
We need both types of practice, mental practice and physical practice.
Sure.
Because if our body is not in peace, we always feel irritated and lack of peace. So we need to engage in physical exercise. It also adds to a lot of chemicals in our body that makes us happy.
Yes.
And at the same time, we should also focus on our mental strength. Ponder, sit down in seclusion for some time and meditate and, think about your daily routine. Where did you go wrong? How could you have made it better? So meditating every day is like self-accountability. And
Okay.
it tells you where did you go wrong and what should have you done better.
Can you walk us through the process of your meditation? So is it you think of the day you have ahead, or do you retrospect the day that you've just had? Some people say you have to, when you meditate, you think of all the things that you're grateful, and also think about all the things that you would like to improve in your life, and also how you would like to probably improve your contribution to society. That's a good beginning to meditation. Even though if you're thinking of things, but at least it's keeping your mind healthy and it's working the neurons. But please share
You just nailed it.
Are you
just said
serious?
it. You just said it. That's what it is.
I'm surprised.
Honestly, this is what it is. To meditate in English is to ponder,
Okay.
right? Ponder on your actions and your intentions so you can work on it. You can plan how you're going to behave in future, how you're going to behave with people.
But what
That's
about
what it is.
what about they say you have to meditate and empty your mind? I found that almost impossible. But if you empty your mind, so how do you think what you've done or what are you grateful for? It doesn't. It's two different things. It's apples and oranges.
This is where spirituality comes. Because in medical science, it is the mind that controls the body.
Yes.
But in spirituality, it is the heart that controls our entire system.
Okay.
So when we want to empty our minds, empty it of all the thoughts, we need to understand where the thoughts are coming from.
It's from the mind.
Yeah. But that's not the case in spirituality. Thoughts, especially negative thoughts, come from a soul that sits inside our body and is responsible for making us hate everybody. And that is the evil presence in everybody. The Prophet of Islam said, every man is born with an evil soul. But we are supposed to purify that evil soul. And that is the source of all the negative thoughts. So while meditating, we need help from spirituality. We need to tame and gain control of that evil soul and fix it with divine energy.
But no one is born bad, right?
No, nobody is born bad. But when we are
Well,
born,
what I'm trying to say is nobody is born bad, but how can we have a how can we have a bad soul within us, or a negative soul within us?
no, we have negativity in us.
We have negativity in
We
us.
have negativity in us. This is why there are, sometimes we are good, sometimes we are bad.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
why we are hating each other. Sometimes in the name of religion, sometimes in the name of God, sometimes in the name of our nationalities, skin color.
Apart from meditation, what else can you share with us in terms of what can be done, especially from a Sufi point of view?
But the principal thing is that we should be able to generate positive energy, which will help us make positive attitude. And that is the mother of all. It is the heart which will
Okay.
accumulate all the negative traits, false pride, arrogance, holding grudge, hatred, all these things. If you go to a temple or a church or a synagogue or a mosque, you worship God day and night, but you still have hatred and false pride and arrogance in you. Spirituality says it's useless going to a temple and a mosque,
Yeah.
because your first job is to remove all these negative traits. And if with the help of worship you cannot do this, then your worship is futile. It's useless.
What advice could you give to our viewers to start doing that, even if they are not followers of Sufism, but as a general rule, as what they can adopt and try to do every day in their lives?
We have two aspects to our life. One is our mundane life, and the second aspect is our spiritual life. How well we do in spirituality, it depends on how well we do in our material life.
From what I've noticed is when you try to find a balance, let's say you're financially, you have a roof over your head and you have enough clothing and food,
Yes.
and you live a simple life, you live a fine life, and you balance it with a decent spirituality. They say that once you start balancing the spiritual aspect of your life, one of the byproducts of it is it comes with more financial progress also, because
Yeah.
you have more discipline
True.
in other spheres of your life, which this spirituality will share all around. Is that also a fact? I'm not saying only financially, but in whether it's relationships, whether it's at work, whether it's with your family, even investment, it just reflects in all fields.
Yeah, it's interconnected.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, when you're financially strong and your mind is at peace, then you'll be easy to be fair in every relation.
is that what we try to say by it's easier to achieve clarity of mind and
True.
take well-informed decisions?
That's how you find a perfect harmony.
Fantastic. Yunus, we have almost come to the end of this interview. Is there anything that you would like to share from your point of view? Because I've seen you on YouTube, I've seen you do a lot of interventions and addresses and many speeches, and you've come to Mauritius to initiate many people. Is there any message you would like to pass on?
My message is love and peace. We should be more focused on humanity, give more value to human values. Religion is a means to reach God, but more important than a religion is the fact that we're all human beings and we should all love each other and love God. And I personally believe one who truly loves God, he cannot hate any human being, regardless of his religion.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing it with us, Yunus. And before closing this interview, I would like to read a quote from Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, if you allow me. He says, "Goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes.
Wow.
Because for those who love with their heart and soul, there is no such thing as separation."
Very true.
On this, Yunus, thank you very much for being with us and giving us your time. I know you're leaving tonight, so I wish you a safe trip back home.
Thank you.
Keep on shining, keep on the good work.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you for helping people also open up their hearts and remove and taming the negativity.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of this episode of Encounter. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. If you have any queries or questions on the guest or the topic that was discussed, drop an email. It's encounter@mbc.itnet.mu. Until the very next program, goodbye.